Hey everyone, how are you? This is Jordan Malik, Honest Online Selling. Thanks so much for joining me today. I've got Dan Metters and Dylan Frost, $25 million sellers on Amazon. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Well, I saw Dan in Las Vegas when he came to visit. Dan, it was great seeing you. But we do this once a year, and I want to thank you guys up front because as the viewers are going to learn later on in this video that you guys provide a tremendous amount of value every year for free, and the timing couldn't be better because you are successful wholesale sellers. You're going to share a lot of your knowledge, and I've been hearing from my readers and my followers that it was a brutal Q4 for them, those that were doing retail arbitrage, private label. I had some gentleman email me the other day. His account was shut down for 18 days. It's a private label seller because of an unscrupulous competing seller got him banned from Amazon for 18 days. He had to lay off his staff. And retail arbitrage was especially tough, kind of flooded listings, people that were buying way back in the summer stuff, June, July, August, and then to discover by the time they listed on Amazon, there's 150 sellers, including Amazon. So this is perfect timing because I know you guys have been crushing it with wholesale. Top of the list of questions I got is what's your Amazon business like today? Can you talk about that?
No, absolutely. So first off, it's awesome seeing you out there in sunny Las Vegas.
Wasn't that good barbecue? It was good barbecue, wasn't it?
It was amazing. Yeah, if you guys are ever out in Las Vegas, try Rolling Smoke Barbecue. Jordan took me there, and it was phenomenal. But no, I mean, our business has continued to grow and evolve. And one of the things that we've really noticed over the past year in our business is like we've kind of made some strategic changes along the way. And the biggest change in our business over the past year is our profit margin has grown significantly. Like our profit margin's grown about 8 points over the past year. And it's just due to some changes. But, you know, as far as the model's concerned, like, you know, there's never really been a better time for wholesale, specifically when you think about all the difficulties that you have in retail arbitrage and the other arbitrage formats. Like, you know, and we come from that background, you know, and it's one of those situations where I think arbitrage is it's definitely still possible to make money out there, but it's gotten harder. Like you have to deal with, you still have to deal with these same IP complaints. You still have to deal with the restrictions and other issues. And there's just so many things that are going on that prevent you from really being able to maximize the model that just don't exist in wholesale right now, because the model that we use, we become an authorized seller for every brand that we work with, which means, I get an IP infringement complaint. I get a standard Amazon complaint. And I'm able to go solve that problem in less than 24 hours and be up and running again. So it's, as far as the landscape goes, I think our model is probably the best one. I feel like it is. And it's definitely the safest one. And it's incredibly scalable, which is what we've really, really been able to enjoy because, despite, I mentioned our margin went significantly up, but I can tell you what's not went up is the amount of time me and Dylan have to spend on the business. We just, it's everything we use is systems based, process based, and or automated. So we're able to, just move through that stuff, continue growing, and just implement small changes and see big results.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's January right now, so we get to kind of reflect on what was 2019. It's 2020. That feels weird to say, but it is 2020. 2019, as Dan mentioned, was our most profitable year ever on Amazon. And here's what's really crazy is that 2020, our projections and the way that some things kind of shook out at the end of 2019 that were really positive, that were really good. 2020 we'll probably do 3 times more profit than we did in 2019. We'll triple our profit. 2019 was our best year ever. In 2020, we'll probably triple that. It's really crazy. We feel like we've hit this stride, and it really excited us. We started picking up some major wholesale accounts around like August and October of last year, and we developing more strategies that made us even more successful than ever. And Dan and I got really excited. So what he said earlier is we don't work a whole lot, and we haven't for years on the Amazon business. This isn't a joke, or this isn't for show or anything. We really do only work on the Amazon business a couple hours a week each. Wow. And it's been that way for years because we've had success where you can hire employees, you have people help run your business, you have virtual assistants to do the things for you. But the incredible success that we had at the end of 2019 inspired us to actually try to work a little bit more than we used to. So we're going to be focusing and probably spending 10, 20 hours a week again on the Amazon business to take advantage of what we feel is like a really great time to be doing what we're doing and significantly grow our business over the next year, and then go back to the couple hours a week thing. So like now is an insane time. Amazon continues to grow like 30%, 20 to 30 to 40% every single year, and that hasn't stopped. And what is not happening is there aren't 20 or 30% more sellers that are coming to the platform. So what you see is that Amazon grows faster than they add new sellers. So we just end up making more money without a whole lot of effort. We've just been seeing insane growth and then more insane growth opportunities. So it's been great to be in wholesale this last year. And it's a great time for people to join and start doing it as well, just as Dan said. Yeah. So we're really excited about 2020.
And I know I'm hearing in my head the amount of work that people are doing with retail arbitrage and how it gets, you guys are saying, and I know because I've talked to you every year for several years now. And Dan, you said, I think the second or third year in, when you started with retail arbitrage and you moved to wholesale, you were just like the first year or maybe the second year, you're like, yeah, I work 4 hours a week.
Right. No, I mean, once you're, that's the beautiful part about our system, right? Is like, it's completely systemized. So, and process oriented and able to be outsourced. So once you go in, I'm not saying it's no work. Like it definitely is, particularly in those early stages. You go in, you set up your accounts, you create your systems and processes and all those things. But once you have that engine running, mm-hmm. I mean, the engine can run relatively autonomously. Like we, from time to time, our employees are able to bring us stuff and ask us questions about how to move forward. But the vast majority of day-to-day operations just happen and continue to happen. As far as your day-to-day operations go, right. Like you can get it down to relatively nothing.
To somebody who's just starting out, make the connection. You guys started out doing retail arbitrage.
Sure.
So can you kind of just summarize what you did? You said, okay, we started with retail arbitrage. I think you maxed out your credit cards or something. And how did you make the transition into wholesale as it would apply to somebody today?
Sure. No, with us, whenever we started with retail arbitrage, that was all we had was kind of our credit card to really really get going. And our strategy was max it out, pay it off, max it out, pay it off, and just continue to do that over and over and over. But our problem was that we were working, 60, 70-hour weeks out there, just driving around picking up products. And then over time, I think people can work at that pace for some amount of time. Like you can really push yourself. And we did. We really pushed ourselves for a good year and a half, 2 years at that level. But it just takes a toll. Like it's very hard to keep going day after day and to that degree. And that's where we started rolling into wholesale. It wasn't like an overnight shift for us. Mm-hmm. But once we started picking up accounts, like, once we started picking up those accounts and having products physically come to us, mm-hmm. then we were able to start transitioning off of retail arbitrage, right? Like I was able to make that income with a phone call a week. Mm-hmm. And then it was, once I've kind of replaced my retail arbitrage, because for us, we were full time too. Right. That was another issue is it wasn't just, that was our full income. So I couldn't just stop retail arbitrage automatically. Otherwise my income just stopped entirely. Sure. But it was, that's the beautiful part about wholesale too, is like, even though it was kind of a part-time job for us, right? It's still convenient. Like I can do my research at night, and that's what we were doing. So like we would go out and do, buy and sell or buy products during the day. And at night I would research cool products that I thought would be good wholesale products. And then as I started setting up those accounts and replacing the income, that really kind of created the bandwidth to go all in on wholesale. And that one transition period, right? Like, if you look at our sales, it was, the year before it was 1.2 million. And, that first transition into full-time wholesale, we did 3.6 million in sales. So we tripled our sales and reduced the time that we were spending working. And it was just because the model was so efficient. You have product consistently coming to us. We're authorized sellers, so we deal with less problems.
It's big boy business now. Right. We have like a real business, like a real company. It's weird. I know we don't look like,
Are you
that's what I like about you.
You look like
a
corporate dude, I look like a big business owner. It's weird.
Speaking of that, I'm going to drop this picture. And Dylan, for fun, he was Luke Skywalker 1 or 2 Halloweens ago. And I'm going to draw the picture in right here.
If this doesn't scream professionalism, I don't know what does.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
having fun and for all you Star Wars fans out there.
Yeah, that's with my son. I dressed him up. He's Baby Yoda. Well, he's Yoda there, just like in Empire Strikes Back. And
incredible.
We dress up for Halloween at the office every year.
And the thing that sucks for me is I'm looking at that picture. I said, I don't think Dylan was born when that movie came out.
No, I wasn't.
Right, Dad, makes us feel ancient. Or maybe, Dan, maybe you weren't born either. Maybe I'm the only one.
What year was it made?
83. Well, released in 83.
Well, I was born in 83.
Oh, Jesus. I'm shutting the camera off. That's it. Goodbye, guys. So, listen. So, what I wanted to say for you guys that are listening right now, you're like, well, I want to get started with wholesale too. There's a link right here. It's right on your screen, and you can learn for free from Dan and Dylan about how to get started. Because I know there's a lot of questions. Oh, how do I get started? Can you guys speak a little bit to that? If I'm doing retail arbitrage, for instance, and I want to get started in the wholesale, what's an easy way, aside from the workshop? That's the best way because it's free and it's step by step. But can you guys just summarize that just a little bit in one paragraph?
Yeah. So, I just want to clarify for everyone that's potentially watching right now to define retail arbitrage for those that don't know, maybe not know or not clear on what retail arbitrage is. It's pretty much just going to something like going to a place like Walmart and buying inventory on clearance or whatever, and then reselling that product on Amazon. And that's how our business was started. Dan started our Amazon business with a $600 credit card in his name, and started buying products on Walmart and reselling them. And that's what he was talking about, where it works. It also is a lot of work, and it's a lot harder to do that now than when we got started.
It works less than it used to.
Right. Things have changed to make it much more difficult. So we saw the writing on the wall then, and we transitioned our business out of arbitrage to wholesale. Thank God that we did.
Honestly, if we wouldn't have made that transition, Jordan, I think it's pretty safe to say right now, I don't think we're in business in the same capacity. Like, absolutely. I think the Amazon changes would have probably eaten us up, and we would have had to go get real jobs, as they say.
So I highly recommend that if you're serious about this and you want to grow this to be a real business like we have, it's still weird to me to think about, that we have multi-million-dollar business and that we did it. So it's odd. 2 country boys from Kentucky, we were able to do this, but other people can do it too. We've taught and we've seen so many other people do it. Anyway, the point is, if you haven't sold anything on Amazon before, I do highly recommend starting with the wholesale method, very specific, the one that we teach, which I think we may talk about here in a little bit, which is different than what most people are doing with wholesale. We teach reverse sourcing wholesale, which we'll elaborate on here in a little bit. It's a very specific style, a very specific method. I think if you're just starting, you should start with this. It's the safest way. It's the best use of your investment, the best use of your money. And it's also the way that Amazon wants you to sell product on their platform, because it's the same business model that Amazon uses to sell product. What we do, reverse sourcing wholesale, is the same method that Amazon uses to sell product. They identify brands, they identify manufacturers, and they reach out to them and they create direct relationships with them and then sell their product. It's the same thing that we do. So you're emulating Amazon themselves, their business model, and that's part of the reason why it's so successful and part of the reason why it works so well and it's safe. But if you are an arbitrage seller, we're getting back to your actual question, which is what is the ways that arbitrage sellers can begin transitioning to wholesale, besides enroll in the workshop and learn about it there. But you can actually begin, I think one way is to begin reaching out to the brands and manufacturers of the products that you've had success doing arbitrage with.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to get in the game. But I want to talk specifically a little bit about the workshop, Jordan, because this workshop, we do it once per year. Mm-hmm. And, it may sound conceited, but I'm 100% convinced that the wholesale formula is the best training program for wholesale on the market. I think the second best training program for wholesale on the market is our workshop, and it's free. It's absolutely free. So if you are not there, you're doing yourself a disservice. In that workshop, we go over the nuts and bolts of how to get started, how to find products, how to not only just find products, it's find products that will be successful on Amazon.
Right.
And that's a key, because anybody can go find something, but finding a product that's going to sell and make you money is harder. But we go over that. We go over how to start developing the relationships with the brand. Now, whether you sell on Amazon or not, this workshop will literally give you everything you need to know to figure out if this is a model for you.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those, if you're in that position like we were a few years ago, where you're doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, you're wanting to start transitioning your business, so you see that writing on the walls, like, this is the place to start. Like, it's a place where you can learn about the wholesale business model absolutely free, with experts who are doing, we've done more than $25 million in sales, and we're going to be there for 5 days, literally answering people's questions, releasing awesome content, and helping people to understand the wholesale model in general.
And maybe I should have started with this a little bit. Do you want me to break down how our business actually works these days, what we do?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the way our business works, what we utilize a model that we call reverse sourcing wholesale. Mm-hmm. So this is, in a nutshell, kind of how it works. So we go on Amazon. We have these specific methods that we use to identify products and some of them that we teach in this free workshop. So we go on Amazon and we find a product using these methods. And I shouldn't say we find, it finds us. We use our methods to scour Amazon, and these products kind of find us based on the criteria that we're looking for. And then we'll see a product and know about how many times it sells each month, how many times, if we became a seller of it, how many of we would be able to sell.
And I think that's a key right there too, Jordan. That's a thing a lot of people struggle with, right? Is, let's say I find a product. How much of it should I buy? I don't want to get stuck with it. That's what our model focuses on. And it's because we had to be incredibly liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said earlier, we started with a $600 credit card and, grew our business out of that. So we've always had that, tight mentality of not wasting money, not buying too much inventory, and trying to buy the right amount. And that's really something that we're going to be teaching in that workshop as well, as, how can I know how much of this product can I sell?
Yeah. And that's part of the formula part of it, right? And so we've identified what we know, and you can also kind of estimate what your profitability would be, how much money that you could be making if you were selling this product. So now we found a good product, right? For instance, what's the next step? So the next step is that we reach out to the brand owner of the product, the actual IP rights, trademark, owner of the product.
But stops here, owner.
No, right. So, and just to be clear, I'm not talking about so many products. Whoever owns the IP is typically not I'm not talking about the Chinese manufacturer. Many products are manufactured in China or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about each typically domestic, U.S. domestic. We reach out to that owner, their company, the IP rights owner, about becoming one of their authorized Amazon sellers, and to be able to buy that product direct, just like you said, no middlemen, so that we get the best possible price direct from the source. It's not multiple shipping lanes that want to ship from one person to this person that gets it. So you order direct, and then many times when you buy direct at that best possible price from the brand owner, they can ship direct to Amazon for you, so that it saves even more money, so that you're able to sell it as profitably as possible on Amazon. And then another great part about it is, because you're an authorized seller that has been approved, it's so much harder for other people to be able to get inventory to compete against you. So you develop a relationship that potentially can become an exclusive relationship, or the only person allowed to sell the product.
I want to mention something else that just touch on a point that you mentioned there. And, Dylan said a lot of the brand ship direct to Amazon is, years ago, we actually had a warehouse. We don't have a warehouse anymore.
I remember that.
Yeah, no need for a warehouse. We never see or touch the products that we are selling on Amazon. We do millions of dollars in sales, have no warehouse, don't have to touch products. So stuff mostly just gets shipped direct in, and there are some things that we just use a prep center for. And so it's great. And so I've just explained this. It may seem incredibly logical to you that this is how everyone should do wholesale. It's how it's only how 1% of people do wholesale. How everyone else does wholesale is easier, but I wouldn't say
it's
easier.
Not easier. It's just easier to find products.
Yeah, but it's directly inferior. Yeah. And what everyone else does is, instead of going on Amazon to find good products first and then reaching out to the brands directly, what everyone else is doing is they go to the companies like wholesalers and distributors. They go to those first, and then they ask for a catalog, and then they send a catalog that's like this big, or the physical version is this big, the PDF is 1 million pages, and it's just a list of SKUs, right? It's just a list of products, and you have in that catalog, it doesn't tell you if the product is any good on Amazon, so you have to go one by one and just search this product on Amazon to see if it's any good. And then you got to hope that the distributor price, which is marked up, is good enough for you where you can buy it and resell it on Amazon. It's a miserable experience, and you're just paying more. Sorry
to interrupt you. It's a dangerous experience. I wrote a blog post on this, and I'm going to put the link again to it down there. It's called Beware Fake Wholesale. And 98% of people who want to get started sourcing wholesale, they immediately go to that model that Dylan just specifically referenced. And you're really playing with fire, and if you're not playing with fire, you're playing with extremely slim margins.
We did that at first, because whenever we got started, and this is another reason that we really loved running this workshop. When we got started with wholesale, because it wasn't something that we just knew. Like it was, we were looking for that escape from retail arbitrage because we were spending so much time and energy and not being able to spend time with our families. So whenever I Googled wholesale to see how to get started, it said to do that crap. It said to go to those distributors, go to the shows, and try to set up accounts with these massive wholesalers. And it doesn't work is the problem. It does, but it doesn't. It's like you said, you're playing with really thin margins, or you're playing with fire, because these people, it's not that distributors do anything wrong. It's just that their whole goal in their business model is to move units. They don't care how they move the units. Yeah. They're not loyal to you.
Yeah.
The
reason more people do it, so many people do that version of wholesale, is because it's
easier to get approved.
It's easier to get approved. It's easier to understand, right? And so why aren't more people doing reverse sourcing wholesale? Why are we kind of big pioneers in helping other people understand it and do it? And it's two things really. The reason more people don't do reverse sourcing wholesale is because, one, you need a formula for being able to identify what are good products on Amazon that you could sell. No one has that. We developed it years ago. So we have that formula that we teach, and teach it for free in the workshop. You'll learn it totally for free. It's not like you don't pay us for it. It's just a free thing. It's just a free thing that we teach. The formula that helps you identify what a good product is. People just don't have that, so it's hard for them to do reverse sourcing wholesale without that formula. Number two is getting approved. That's been the barrier. It's the barrier for many people, because if you do try to reach out to a successful brand owner, a product that's selling hundreds or thousands of times on Amazon, and you don't know what to say or how to approach them,
random Joe, they may not sell to you.
They're gonna say no. You're not approved to be one of our authorized Amazon sellers. So it's through our experience we learned how to be able to convince them to make us an authorized seller, or an exclusive seller, or a semi-exclusive seller, things of that nature. And it's really we teach this in the workshop as well. But to summarize, how is it that you are able to be approved if they want to work with you? You just have to present yourself as a business professional, as a professional Amazon seller. No matter what, it doesn't matter what your experience selling on Amazon is. You just have to understand how to present yourself and know what to say, and to present your knowledge and your value.
But that's going to be in the workshop, right?
And that's going to be in the workshop, yeah. And so it's about being able to know how to provide value to the brand. That's really what it all comes down to. Tony Robbins mentioned this one time, and it's always really resonated with me because it's a universal truth. It's, how do you make money? How does anyone make money in this world? And the answer is very simple. You provide someone with value.
Right.
You provide someone with value, and they will give you money in return.
Right.
And that's what our business is.
Mm-hmm.
We approach brands. We present them with, we can provide you this value to work if you work with us, if we work with you, really. Because we're coming to them saying, I would like to, spend $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 with you today. And sometimes their first instinct is to say no, it sounds funny, right? But then we go into helping to understand what the value is with working with us. and then they're really excited about it, and then we create real partnerships, real relationships, and that's what business is. We provide them value, and we get value back in exchange. So that always resonated with me because it's so simple, and you just never thought about how simple it is. How do you make money? You provide value, and you get money in return.
See, that was one of the biggest differences for us is we realized early on when we started doing wholesale the other way. And
you're not providing anybody value there.
But you know, we were spending all this effort to try to find the next product that we would carry, right? And the writing was on the wall there too, and it was immediately on the wall for us. It's like that's the first thing that I remember talking about was whenever we were doing, you know, setting up with distributors and stuff. It's like the only thing that makes us unique here is the amount of money that we spend. Like that's it. They don't care outside of that. Like they're just moving units, and that was where we made that transition and started focusing on, you know, everybody else that was doing wholesale at the time was really focused on how do I, you know, finding that next product. And our strategy became, how do I get approved by brand owners so I don't have to be in the rat race doing distributor stuff? And that was what we focused on. And that's what we're going to be diving deep into in this workshop is, you know, finding those products, determining how much you can sell, and getting in those strategies to start getting approved so you can get accounts and not have to be in the rat race.
And that's sorry to interrupt you. And you guys focus on products that Amazon is not selling.
Yep.
And is there other criteria that you can share? Like,
sure.
Please, just like 2 or 3 bullet points. And again, this isn't a free workshop. The link is below. But
we'll go really in depth in that. In that section, like we go really in depth on, you know, what the criteria are, why they're criteria, and really how you start applying them. And that's the value of the workshop. So don't miss it. But Dylan, give it to them.
Yeah, so just to clarify about what we mean by Amazon isn't selling it. So it's a product that we want it to be listed on Amazon and be successful, but not sold by Amazon's retail division, just so that we're all clear, right? Like Amazon is a marketplace. And actually, so fun fact about that, last year, it may have been towards the end of 2018 when it officially happened, but now the majority of the things sold on Amazon are sold by third-party sellers like us,
yes.
not by Amazon themselves.
Correct.
And that's going to continue to grow. Why is that? Well, Amazon wants this. Actually, Amazon makes more money when a third-party seller sells a product than when they sell it. Right. And so that's a big reason a couple of years ago when Amazon became profitable finally after 20 years. So it's like, so same thing. Part of the reason all that started happening that became more profitable is because they started transitioning more and more of the inventory that they sold to allowing third-party sellers to do it. Because here's how it works. When Amazon sells a product, you know, they have to buy it, they have to pay money to buy it, they have to then list, you know, prep it and send it and list it for sale and stuff like that. When we sell a product on Amazon, they didn't have to pay for it. Right. And they just take 15%. Right. So it's way, way, way more profitable for Amazon to allow me to sell it, for them to sell it. So that's what they want. That's why one of the reasons being an Amazon seller is such a huge opportunity right now, because it's literally Amazon is begging, is dying. They want more of these third-party sellers, so they have conditioned and they're creating the marketplace more and more to be conditioned to that because it's very profitable for them.
And there's another thing. Another misconception is a lot of people really do believe that Amazon carries like a ton of products on their platform, and it's just not the case. Like Amazon, there are currently, the last figure I saw where there were 516 million items listed on Amazon's website.
Wow.
Of those, Amazon carried 16 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's 500 million SKUs that Amazon doesn't carry based on that statistic.
Yeah, and the 16 million that they do carry, and that's going to continue to shrink, those are like major branded products that, in the way that we do reverse sourcing wholesale, you're not all that interested anyway. It's products like Charmin and Bounty and, you know, Coca-Cola. It's that sort of stuff. Those are their loss leaders. They'll continue to sell products like that forever to be loss leaders, to just be the things that they're selling at a break even or whatever, just to destroy your Krogers and Walmarts of the world and to try to outcompete them. But everything else on the platform, they want third-party sellers to be selling. So yes, so get back to some of the criteria of how we identify a great product.
We got off tangent there.
Yeah, sure. So I do that a lot, but
your excitement's contagious, though. I know my viewers are getting excited about this. Listen to you guys, because you guys are honest, you're pure, and you guys are successful, and I love hearing this stuff.
When we talk about one thing, it reminds me of another, and you know how it goes.
You go down the rabbit hole.
So the criteria for selecting products, part of what that looks like that we teach in the workshop.
Give them number 2. We got them number 1.
We don't want Amazon to be a seller of the product. The reason for that the reason why behind that is
they don't play by the same rules. I mean, really, is the kind of the short and skinny of it is they, whenever you're dealing with carrying a product that Amazon sells, then they don't share the buy box the same way. They it just turns it into, it makes it much more difficult to change the listings as well, and that's part of us providing value to the brand. So whenever we can't change those listings, whenever we have to aggressively reprice, then it's just not a product that we want to carry. So if the product is carried and sold by Amazon, we avoid it.
Yeah.
So the second criteria that we look for is that the product is carried by 3 or more sellers. Now, that one sounds counterintuitive, right? Like, my eventual goal with all the products that I carry is I want to be the exclusive seller. So why wouldn't I look for products with fewer sellers, right? Like, why do I want 3 sellers?
Yeah.
But the reason behind that is it's efficiency-based ships. So whenever I'm trying to set up an account with somebody, I want ideally that to be somebody I can work with, and where we're providing value both ways. Like, we want to be able to help them, we want them to be able to help us. That way it's symbiotic, and we stay invested into one another, and focus on products with 3 or more sellers, because it shows that they're at least interested in working with third-party sellers. And once they're interested, then you can go in, you can start providing value, make a difference, and develop that relationship, and eventually take it to exclusive.
To our viewers, that all these steps that Dan is talking about are elaborated in the free workshop. The link is below. Dan and Dylan, I know you're biased, but if somebody says, "Look, it's saturated with sellers. There's no brands that are going to work with me," what's your answer to that?
Yeah, so let's actually look at it on a per product level. I can break this down. Like, let's say you're looking at a product that has 100 sellers, some ridiculous amount of sellers. The reality of it is that product may not be actually saturated or competitive at all. There's more data. There's more that you need to know, and that's where our formula is actually very valuable. There could be 100 people on it, but there could just be 1 or 2 people getting all the sales out of those 100 people. And that's because it's the way that Amazon works, right? It's that the majority of the sales go to the people that are most competitively priced. And that's part of what our formula teaches you, and that you'll learn in the workshop. It gets in the weeds a little bit, so I don't know that we necessarily can talk about that here, but the number of sellers is a really irrelevant thing. You have to know, like, who are the relevant sellers? What is the competitive price for this product? And as you know, if you're buying brand direct, you're getting a better price than almost all of those sellers. They can't compete with you. So they've just got their inventory on Amazon that's not selling, but yours is.
They're doing retail arbor through the distributors.
Sure.
Right? So
exactly.
You should say that, because the mind of the retail arbitrage seller going into stores to find stuff is that, this regular retail price is $19.99.
Yeah.
And now it's 50% off. So I'm going to buy it for $10. And by the time they calculate how much profit they need, they're going to have to price it at above retail, right? Where somebody who's an authorized reseller like you guys come in at 30% below retail or whatever, but you're still getting a 30% profit margin on the unit. You're moving massive quantities of it because you're among the lowest price. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, that's the ability, is working with brand owner direct pricing. You get the ability to isolate yourself sometimes by just having a much better price than everybody else. Yeah.
The way that I like to explain it, there's tons of people. There's tons of people that have been saying for many, many years, Amazon is too competitive. There are too many sellers, and all that stuff. And they just, anything that they can do to not do work, it sounds like. And any excuse they can make to not actually build a business and be successful, it seems like what those people are doing. But hey, I disagree with that. I don't think it's competitive enough. That's very clear by the way that our profits have worked out, the way our sales have worked out, many of our students, and the way that there's a survey recently that's like 1 in 5 Amazon sellers does $1 million in sales a year now from FeedVisor. Incredible. The only reason that's possible is because the marketplace grows faster than sellers. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's say those people were right. Let's say that it is true that Amazon is incredibly competitive and there are too many people. It doesn't matter. Because that still doesn't matter with the way that we do business and the way that our business works, because we get the best possible pricing. So even if it is very competitive, we win the competition. It doesn't matter. We win the competition because we have the best price. No one can compete with us. It doesn't matter how many of them there are. So
because you're providing value to the brand.
Yeah. So exactly. even if you're right, that these people are right that it's too competitive. Yeah, it's because of people like us, because we win. We're the winners.
They're looking at it from a sourcing from retail arbitrage,
yeah,
private label perspective.
I can see, because so like here's the thing, I can see why someone who does the traditional wholesale way of going through wholesalers and distributors, it probably does feel competitive to them because they're getting their eyes blacked by people like us.
Sure, yeah, because they're not sourcing wholesale correctly.
Right, like I can see why they would say that because we're beating them up.
Perfect. So again, the link for the workshop is below, guys. Do you want to add anything?
I mean, the thing I would add is, regardless, for the people watching this video, you're watching it for a reason, right? Like you're watching it because, maybe you want more, maybe you want to make a change, maybe you just want to get started. And this workshop is the perfect opportunity to do that. It is, the only barrier to entry is your time. And I promise you, we will way over deliver. So, if you're on the fence or anything, go sign up, check it out. And maybe this will be the spark that helps you accomplish whatever it is you're looking for. Maybe that's, making your big business grow and automating it so you have more time. Maybe that's starting your business so you can move away from the job you hate. Or maybe it's just, setting up a side income to be able to pay for a vacation or something like that. But this workshop can be the first step in getting started accomplishing that goal. So my advice would be take action, sign up for the workshop, and just come with an open mind, because we're going to be there. We're going to be focused on helping you understand the model and helping you understand the opportunity that's there for you.
Yeah. Once upon a time, we're working day jobs.
I know. And you guys were poor too. I mean, I don't know about John, but
poor.
I remember you were referencing that a couple of years ago. You grew up poor.
Yeah.
Everyone does in Eastern Kentucky. It came from the middle of nowhere where there's just not a lot of opportunities. It's like the county that I grew up in, pretty much by any metric, and Dan's as well.
The fourth poorest county in the nation?
They're top 10 poorest counties on the whole United States. And, I didn't even go to college. I went to community college. But we used to work regular day jobs, and we're just regular people, man. Like we are regular people. The only difference between us and anybody else is that we just got started. That's really it. You just got to start.
For all the good fortune you've had, the success, $25 million to date in Amazon sales, you've still given away stuff for free for people to learn. So I really appreciate you guys. I've known you for a few years now, and you guys always deliver. Here's the link to the workshop again. And people are going to be surprised because it's not just the workshop. There's a lot of other free stuff in there and access that you're going to get to learn how to source wholesale. Dan, Dylan, thank you very much for spending your time with me, and we're going to see you soon.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.